Microtransactions are back in the news.
And they still suck.
Let's talk about it. Tam, why are we talking about microtransactions? What is this, 2010?
Microtransaction is at it again. There's not one specific thing. I feel like the microtransaction discussion ebbs and flows depending on what is there an inciting incident? And there has been an inciting incident recently that, while not an A to B on why we're talking about it, has kind of reignited the discussion around it, and it's a good opportunity to talk about it again. Content creator named Rurikan playing Diablo 4 and accidentally engaging with his battle pass system, which went viral.
Tom, our wonderful editor, please put the clip in because it is ridiculous.
Put it in between our hands like this.
This is not 16:9, but he'll make it work.
There.
No! If that thing activated, if that's a one-click activation...
Okay, I'll be right back.
You!
So the reason this happened was because of not good UI, but it was bad enough that people were deeming it like a trick.
Malicious design was the phrase thrown around a lot.
He was doing something that anyone who is playing Diablo will do countless times, which is go to the season journey menu, which is how you track your progress. You're going to be hitting that non-stop. However, right underneath it is a button that activates your premium pass. This content creator had the premium pass, but didn't want to use it because he knew that I don't have the time to commit to make it all the way through this season. So I'm going to save it and activate it on the next one where I'm ready and I can go through it and it will be more worth my while. When trying to go to the season journey page, it went to that and he pressed it, and without confirming and being like, are you sure you want to do this? Or we're about to do this, you cool? It just did it. Just all F4s on the PlayStation. And it's like, you can see it go from that to like, game is closed in a second. And like, clearly just an attempt to like stop it. Blizzard has said they're going to change that.
We're recording this on Wednesday. At this point, I don't believe it has been fixed.
I don't think so. They talked about they have a temp solution coming in. Still is something that, whether intentional or just like overlooked, a mistake, speaks to like a modern approach to microtransactions and the nature in which they're perceived. What's the first microtransaction you remember? I know the one.
That I remember?
Yeah. What was the one that you remember being in the news the most?
I mean, horse armor
there
for sure.
Yeah. I feel like horse armor is like the harbinger of doom for us in the microtransaction timeline.
Horse armor is like the point in the timeline where it converges, and it set us off on this path where, you know, everything is terrible. And then the other path, the microtransaction free life, we all live on the moon and it's great.
It's wonderful over there.
It's a fun time.
When they first hit the scene, there was a period where companies were trying to figure it out. How can we add these microtransactions to the game?
What can we get away with?
Yeah, what can we get away with? Where are the lines? What will people pay for? It's the research era, which I also call the taking the piss era, where they frequently took the piss.
Oh my God.
And people were like, stop taking the piss. And they, for the most part, tried to not take the piss as obviously.
I was going to say, one of the key figures behind taking the piss, EA. I mean,
EA Sports.
Pay us money.
It's in your wallet.
EA, the Dungeon Keeper mobile game was... The Dungeon Keeper mobile game is very funny for a number of reasons, because literally like a British trade association basically said you've misled people in your advertising by calling this free to play.
At that point, it was being regulated. People were like, don't do that. You're misrepresenting what is free to play. So the lack of understanding around microtransactions around then, and the lack of vigilance, was kind of taken for granted.
Well, also, like no legal ramifications really meant that it was the Wild West taking the piss era.
Yeah, but now time has passed and developers
has it.
Way too much. My back is a good indicator of how much time has passed. People have a better understanding of microtransactions, and the worst of the worst stuff from previous years got called out and was pushed aside. Yeah, exactly. Modern games still have that manipulative UI, and the microtransactions still feel predatory.
Microtransactions are a necessary evil. Video games are horrifically expensive, not only to make, but to maintain, to create new content from. And we're not denying that. However, there has to be a line.
There's got to be a better way.
There's got to be a better way. And there is, Tam. There might not be. I cannot guarantee that there's a better way.
So there was a time where like live service games weren't that prevalent, but now it is. There's a lot of them, and there's about to be a whole lot more of them, because don't forget, Sony was like, we got 12 of these things in development. Most of those things are going to have microtransactions in it and potentially implement them in very unfair ways.
If you look at a live service game, effectively The Sims 4 is a live service game.
Yeah.
It's free to play. You get the base game and all that stuff, and there is a considerable amount of content, especially compared to 2014. Am I right? Am I right? The Sims 4 was terrible at launch. It's great now. Their live service free-to-play model is you buy the packs, and there are numerous. There is a grunge
digital
pack.
air freshener pack.
You're not wrong. There is a considerable amount of content in that game already, and you don't technically have to pay for anything.
If that's how Destiny was, which at one point you could argue it would be great, but it's very much not that. There was a video floating around about a month or two ago from Aztec Cross, who has this video called Destiny 2 has become a microtransaction hell, which is perhaps a good encapsulation of the various confusing ways that Destiny has monetized itself. It's a free-to-try game. You get a chunk of content that's available for free. Not even the most, you don't have a single player, like you get a small taste of certain things,
you
right?
Get a foot in the door.
The vast majority of the actual content, especially relative to what is out there, the stuff you're getting is minuscule. Like you're not getting that much of it. But almost all of it is not available for free.
Right.
That is fundamentally different from true free-to-play titles like Fortnite or Warframe or any other one where you download the game and you can play everything. Right, Fortnite, you download it, you play everything. There's a battle pass there. You can go through that battle pass, a free battle pass, by just playing it. And if you want the good shit, you buy the monetized battle pass. Yep. Destiny 2, on the other hand, the price of the season pass went up, which leads us to the next major issue. Right, it costs 1,200 silver. When you buy 10,000 silver, usually you get like 1,000 silver. You get 1,100 or some shit like that.
Oh, is this the old Xbox Live points?
Yeah,
what did they call them?
Yeah, the Live Gamer Points or whatever.
The Gamer Points.
Yep.
Yeah.
So, as you know, buying that much is not enough to get you the thing that you want. So you need to buy 1,500 silver. Instead of paying $12 for it, you're paying $15 for it, which is not only did the season pass price go up, they're using that method to make you pay even more money than you thought you would be. That is a pretty shitty thing to do. The other main thing is event cards they've got in there now. These are challenges. It gets you some shit, but you have to buy it. So you've got to pay money to get a thing and then pay more money to get the challenges.
Do you think, this is a legitimate question,
it's battle pass within a battle pass. It's battle passception.
Do you think that they are genuinely making it so convoluted so that people will just spend without thinking about it?
Yeah.
Like they are counting
Genuinely.
on, and we're talking about microtransactions. Started from the Diablo chat about malicious design. This is kind of another kind of malicious design.
This is malicious design that is baked into the way microtransaction and live service games operate to the point where people don't even complain about it. It's not a major thing, and that's why we're talking about it. A lot of game design is now built around shops. Yeah. That shit sucks, man.
Yeah.
I hate it so much. Every game is built around shops where it doesn't tell you the dollar amount. It tells you
the points
the gobbledygook currency amount. Then you go to buy the gobbledygook currency amount and it's more than you want to pay. And I'm not trying to yuck anyone's yum. We're not trying to yuck anyone's yum. But like these cosmetics, I get it. It takes time, effort, manpower, design to make these things. There's stuff in Valorant which is genuinely like $80. It just relies on people not really thinking about it. Like they're just like, okay, yeah, I'll buy this skin. It looks cool. I want to buy it, but I'm using these points, and they purposefully don't tell you the dollars because then you don't make the connection in your brain. In like Destiny, you can buy a skin for $20 very easily. Think about that. $20.
Overwatch 2, wasn't there a thing where there was a charm that cost more in game than it did in real life? A Pachimari charm.
It's just a nightmare.
Baffling, man.
Yeah, and the thing is, like, if you really think about it and really ask yourself, is that money worth it? I played a lot of Valorant, and every time I went to the shop, I left feeling like incensed by it, and I would turn the game off. I can have a skin for a gun, or I could go buy 3 other games with that money. Like, and I feel like people should really spend the time thinking about whether this thing is worth it. Here's a very naive solution. Just treat your player base with some respect.
Yeah.
Make a good game. Okay, if the game is good and you treat your player base well and try not to bleed them for money, people will support it. We're examples of this.
Are we?
We played Overwatch 1.
Yeah, we did.
How many times did we buy skins? Like a lot.
Oh.
I bought a decent amount of skins in that game. I
dabbled in the loot boxes for a long time, but then in my head I was like, what if I unlocked every Diva skin? And that really sent me down a rabbit hole.
Destiny's a good game. If they just were like, we're not going to fleece you, just pay this much money, here's what you'll get. Don't trick us into doing that stuff. Like, there's enough things in real life that is like fleecing us for money and tricking us into it.
Rent.
Yeah, rent.
Bills.
TurboTax. If you want players to build their like lives around your games as a service or your live service games,
Don't take the piss.
Yeah, don't take the piss. The piss-taking era is over.
Thank you so much for watching this week's episode of Spot On. We'll be back again next week discussing another hard-hitting video game industry story. Tam, where can people find you?
You can find me everywhere. You could find me on X at TamorH.
Oh, God.
Have you seen that story about he putting his hand in a toaster and burning it?
I did see that.
Genius. Stable genius. That's what he is, remember?
A masterful gambit.
Masterful gambits. I want my Pop-Tart.
You can find me everywhere at Lucy James Games because I've got that branding. We'll see you next week.
Bye.